Welcome back to SAFC Live. It's a disappointing scoreline here at the Stadium of Light this afternoon. Sunderland 0, Cardiff City 1. You summed it up at the end of the game there, Danny, but what do you put it down to this afternoon? The starting 11 not living up to what they could do, maybe, the potential? Was it wrong from the start, or was it just one of those days for Sunderland?
A bit of both, I think. People will always, after a result like today, you'll always look at the starting 11. Yes, he's made changes, 4 changes from Wednesday night. And people will say, did he get it right? I mean, you can look at it. Did Barr deserve his start? He done well on Wednesday. Dan Neil didn't really get hold of the midfield as we would have liked. You can always look at that. But I give big credit to Cardiff. They sat in early on. Then we weren't at it. You know, we're saying at the Stadium of Light here, we've got to be at it, get the crowd on side early on, get the passing game going. It wasn't there. You know, we were giving loose balls away when we weren't under pressure.
It was kind of similar to the starting 30 minutes or so down at Huddersfield, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the way the ball was just getting away from our players.
Yeah, and when you've got the players we've got in that top end of the pitch there, we've got to be tidy on the ball. You know, get it into Ellis Sims, link up play with him. It wasn't quite there in the first half, and then you're giving it away. And then Cardiff almost think, do you know what? We can have a go at these. And then, to be fair to them, they were, 20, 25 minutes in that first half, they were excellent. Missed the penalty, 1 or 2 other opportunities, and I thought we were probably fortunate to get in at half-time at 0-0.
Let's have a look at the action then from the game, and we can discuss some of the most prominent moments. And I guess it was this penalty decision in the first half against Danny Bart there, going down, and with Ojo, I think it was at the time. In fact, it wasn't Ojo at all. It was Philogene who goes down.
It was Philogene, yeah, just running in behind. Say Bailey loose with the pass. Anthony Patterson's come to give him an angle there, and Danny Bart panic on. Is it a yellow? Is it a red? Anyway, he gets the yellow. They've got the opportunity from the penalty spot, and as I say, Anthony Patterson steps up, doesn't he? And makes a good save for us. And you're thinking, now is this going to wake us up? Because we weren't great at that moment. Cardiff were on top. They were enjoying themselves up here, and Pato makes a save. The crowd go up, and I think, right lads, come on, that's a let off for us. Let's get going. Let's get on the front foot. But it just didn't happen.
You say it on top though, Danny. It wasn't as if Cardiff was spraying it round through the lines. They just found themselves with space and possession squandered from Sunderland.
Yeah, possibly too easy at times. When you're up here at the stadium, like you've seen the energy we bring to performances up here, and I don't think any team so far this season has come up here and had an easier half as what Cardiff had in that first half, if we're honest. It was almost like we didn't know what to do when they were playing out from the back. I said there, Patrick was caught in between pressing the centre half and the full-backs who were pushed high for them. They were clipping it past him, and we weren't sure. We were getting dragged around the park. But you see this one here about decision making as well. You can talk about formations and plays, but it comes down to the player who's on the ball at that moment in time, and he should have rolled. Yes, if he flies in the top corner, he's saying great strike, right decision. But I think there, roll Patrick in. He's 10 yards from the edge of the box. You want to see Patrick on the ball, driving towards goal. But then it become an open game, and say there, Cardiff have got players in their team, Ojo, Philogene as well, who he was decent. They've got players who can hurt us on the counter-attack. You see Ojo now running channels, nobody's picking him up, no one's matching him. Bailey Wright has to come across and make a challenge. And that was the story in the first half for me. We were getting dragged all over the pitch. Now you could say, if Corey Evans is in there, he's the skipper, he's an old head in there. Get that experience, just say, listen lads, we're not quite at it, let's just settle down, let's try and get a few passes in, take control of the ball. But that didn't happen in the first half. And this one here, you see on the counter-attack, you've got Ahmad running back, and Barr are your last players. Thankfully, another one that goes away for us. And if Cardiff were a little bit tighter on the final ball, they had opportunity. This one here, I think Harris it is, isn't it? Yeah. For me, makes the wrong decision. Pato comes flying out, looking out, just chopped to his left, and then he can roll it into the empty net. Probably goes with a little toe poke and goes past the post. So they were having opportunities in that first half, Cardiff. And as I've just mentioned, I think we were grateful to get in at 0-0. You think that one was? I don't think there's a foul. No,
looking back, there's nothing.
No, it's not. It just leaned into Patrick, and it's not a foul. And here's the goal now on the counter attack. Let's have a look now. We've given possession away prior to that, but they pop it through us. Cardiff, ball in there now, and I don't think he is offside. Bailey, I think Bailey's the deepest man. Bailey's got his hand up in there. Luke O'Neill as well, but I think
the angles we get as well is we haven't got one on the line.
Directly,
we can't draw the lines.
But just keep your eye on Bailey there. See, and as it's played, then another yard or two, and it perhaps looks like he's offside. Listen, you see from this one, maybe there, pop, and is he off, is he not? We'll never know. Listen, the linesman's inside, but
The linesman was dead on it, to be fair with
Yeah.
him, dead in line with it. Obviously, that doesn't always go your way, but
if he is or he isn't, it's the build-up in there where they're getting in. It's 3 or 4 balls from us, but we give the possession.
what about
away
that
too
time
easy.
to concede as well? It's such a sucker punch almost, isn't it?
Straight after the break,
Yeah,
is it? Yeah.
recently we've been conceding just before the break or after as well.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? We said it there. We weren't great in the first 45. I'm sure Tony Mowbray's got stuck into them in the changing rooms. Listen, that's livened up here. Was it 37,000 in the stadium again? Let's get them on side. Let's give them something to go at. But then, as you say, sucker punch right after the break. Cardiff get themselves in front. And Ahmad, to be fair to him, he keeps on going. What I like about him, when we're not quite at it as a team, he always wants the ball. He's always trying to get us going and give his energy into the performance. And he played a couple of roles today. He was out on the right hand side. You see when Patrick went off, he was playing in the 10. He got moved into an 8 at times. But wherever he plays, he wants to try and get on the ball and get us going forward. And Ellis Sims, what did he play? 70 odd minutes he played today, I think.
Yeah.
72 minutes maybe. Little to go off.
Longer than I thought he was going to play.
Yeah, and I think he left him on because he had to try and get us into the game. And this one here, let off. I think Sawyer's not long on the pitch. Anthony Patterson comes out to claim it. You see now just coming together between him and the Cardiff player. And it drops there. I think, just a little side foot on the half volley, just clip it over Anthony Patterson. It goes laces, gets it wrong, slices it well wide. Ball into the middle now. Lovely ball on. Nelson just come on, and that's where you want Sims in the middle, don't you, getting on the end of these types of crosses, but he's gone off by now. And it's unlucky. You see we've got a couple of men in there, unfortunately, drops either side of them. I think Bennett's gone into the middle, hasn't he? And
there's a couple of those this season where Jack Clark's found himself in that position, a couple of more inches on top of his head, and then could have converted a couple of them.
That one there, it's a good build-up play, and I think Ahmad, when you see it back from this other angle, just takes, because he brings the touch inside towards the goals, it invites the challenge from Kipri, which is a good strong channel. This one now, see there.
He was good all afternoon, Kipri,
yeah,
wasn't
he was big and strong.
Solid.
Yeah, handled Sims well, all afternoon. And he had a good solid game back there. And then they brought Nelson on. They went 5.
Is that a penalty for you?
I'm not sure. There's not too many getting around it. I think we're clutching at straws. I don't think there's much in it, to be honest. And as you see the reaction from the players there, massively disappointing afternoon at the stadium. Frustrating. That's the story of the season so far, with that middle of the road team, middle of the table. Hard work down at Huddersfield in the week. Wasn't a great game in there, but we come back from there with 3 points back up here this afternoon. And if we had another 10-15% on what we showed, especially in that first half, it might have been a different story, but it wasn't to be. Credit to Cardiff. I thought they were, listen, I'd say they're probably the best team I've seen up here at the Stadium of Light. I'll say over the course. Second half, listen, they dropped in because they got their goal. Naturally, that's what teams are going to do. Coming off the back of 4 out of 5 defeats in recent weeks for them. New manager there who's trying to nail down the job. You can see his reaction at the end with the Cardiff fans.
I think he might have just got the job after that.
Well, possibly, yeah, but the onus is on us as the home team to take the game to them. But they've done the hard work in the first half for me. Yes, it was 0-0, but what they showed, getting the goal after half-time, they retreated, made the changes, 4-5-1 or 5-4-1, and we found it difficult, didn't create enough.
Let's have a look at the scores from around the Championship this afternoon. There was an early kick-off, lots of goals in that one. That finished Sheffield United 5, Burnley 2. The other scores this afternoon: Blackburn Rovers 1, Huddersfield Town 0, Blackpool 0, Luton Town 1, Middlesbrough 1, Bristol City 1, Millwall 0, Hull City 0, Queen's Park Rangers 0, West Bromwich Albion 1, Rotherham United 1, Norwich City 2, Stoke City 1, Birmingham 2, Swansea 2, Wigan Athletic 2, Watford 0, Coventry City 1. What does that do for the table where Sunderland are concerned? Sunderland find themselves 13th. And again, it's still so tight there, Danny, isn't it? That maybe the top 9 starting to pull away a little bit, top 9, 10, but if you get back-to-back wins in this division,
exactly
all
that
changes.
Yeah, no, it does, yeah, and as you say there, well, if we had won, where would we be? Tips and buts, we'd have been 12th, wouldn't we? But Birmingham next up, you see, just sat above us there, and he's just looking at the teams below you as well. And Coventry on a good little run at the moment in time, got a couple of games in hand as well. But yeah, frustrating, and you see, I think at this moment in time, we are where we deserve to be, really, because we can't string a run of results together, and ultimately that puts you in the middle of the pack. Okay, then, that's how the Championship looks this afternoon. Let's see what you've been saying then here on hashtag Ask Danny. Let's have a look at the first one. Comes in from Adam, who says, we're majorly missing, Stuart? We're majorly missing, Stuart. Sorry, I couldn't see that. Do we think the board will invest in a striker in January? Well, Ross Stewart's due back before then, isn't he? Obviously, Ellis Sims has come back, finding his way back to fitness. So he's had 20 minutes, 45 minutes, and then 70-odd minutes again this afternoon. And then you get Ross back. Yeah, he's two big figures for us when they're on their game. There'll be a handful for any defence at this level. But you know, of course, Ross Stewart, he's our talisman, isn't he? Seen what he done last season. Got off to a good start this season. Unfortunately, picks up that injury in the warm-up against Middlesbrough. Will the club look to bring somebody in January? I'm not so sure. Again, that's up to the recruitment team. But I think when we're on our game with what we've got we've got more than enough to cause problems for teams. We've seen that already, so far this season. So I'm not sure whether they'll look to bring a striker in or not.
Thanks, Danny. Let's have a look at your next thought here on hashtag Ask Danny. And this next one comes in from John. Watching from Iceland, me and Berhard. Wish the game was going better. Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. It's great to see we've got some fans over in Iceland. Fantastic stuff there. Well, the fans will be watching all around the world this afternoon. They weren't treated to a great spectacle this afternoon. But maybe, is there any positives to take out of today's game for you, Danny? We always try and look for the positives here on SFC Live. Anthony Patterson making a save from a penalty, that's a positive.
It is, yeah. Unfortunately for him, it counted for nothing in the end. I don't think he had much chance for the goal from Harris. Ball's fizzed in and it's past him before he knows it. Positives to take, really. I mean, it's difficult. We usually look at a man of the match, but if you're going through the team, there was no standouts again, really. Listen, I like Ahmad for his work rate and his endeavour when it's not happening. He's always, for a young lad, he wants to take the ball. Playing in here, it can get quite hostile at times, but he sticks his chest out and he wants to get on the ball. And I said there, he played in 3 or 4 positions today. He was getting moved around the pitch, trying to make things happen, but unfortunately he didn't. And he had that one opportunity in the first half, didn't he, which got cleared off the line. Nearly had another one at the end, a little give and go with Jack Clark. Good tackle from Kipri coming across.
Let's look at other things around the pitch then. You could take the likes of Ellis Sims getting about 70 minutes into his legs again. That's a positive to take from today's game. Bailey Wright and Danny Bart at the back. Obviously, that's a pairing where they have an understanding. And these are little partnerships on the pitch. Jack Clark back in this side with Dennis Sirkin on the left-hand side today. And Luke O'Nien found himself quite advanced as well, proving that he can do that role as well on the right-hand side in the absence of Lyndon Gooch as well. Yeah,
to be fair, you say with Bailey coming in there, you've got your 2 experienced centre-halves. Done okay, really. You can analyse the goal and look back at it, but it was in the build-up and we didn't see it on the clip there, but just giving the ball away. I think we played the ball across to this left-hand side, got cut out, and that typified the afternoon, really, where you set your stall out, crisp passes when we're on it. We've said it before, haven't we? There's a lot of movement off the ball. You get your little technical players on the ball in and around their final third, and even the energy didn't feel like it was quite there today.
It was strange, wasn't it, at times? It was hard because I think the fans were waiting for something to go on.
Yeah.
It was almost like the players were waiting for the fans to push them on a little bit, but it's always got to come from the pitch, hasn't it?
It has, and they did have a go. The fans, we got a goal down. I think it was around 63 minutes or so where the crowd did give it a little bit, but ultimately, I said it to you there, didn't it? You can look at the tactics, the formation. But it's got to come from the players out on the pitch. They can feel it in the stadium. I've been there myself in here. It can get hostile at times, but you've got to puff your chest out and you've got to deal with it. And you've got to say, listen, we're only a goal down. We're not 3-0 down. We were a goal down. And as I said, with Ahmad there, the players, they've got to want to get on the ball. Pritchard came on, to be fair. He was dropping in, trying to get on the ball. You've got Embleton coming off the bench. These little technical players who, try and make things happen. But when Cardiff got the nose in front and it's difficult, prior to them going in front, when it was at 0-0, they came out and they had to go. I said early on, I expected them coming off the run results they've had to just sit in and try and hit us on the counter-attack. But, after sort of 10 minutes of the game, you could see that wasn't the case. They come out, Cardiff, and they enjoyed themselves, looked busy going forward, should have had themselves a goal or 2. But once they had themselves in front there in the second half, you could see he made the changes. He brought Nelson on later on as well. Solid back 5.
It kind of is cemented their back line, didn't he, bringing Nelson on? There's a couple of times he was called upon.
Made some good clearances. We nearly got in Ahmad, that one there with Ahmad, where little give and go, Jack Clark, just if he takes the touch away, then he can get the shot away with his right foot. Unfortunately, just brought it inside and Kipri come across with a good challenge. But other than that, you look back and you think how many saves has the goalkeeper had to make in that second half, and that's the story of it, really.
Yeah, good point there, Danny. Okay, let's have a look at another thought then. This will be our last one on the programme. From Josh. who's got in touch and said, we are averaging higher than 1 point per game. We still look solid for mid-table finish or higher. What improvements are needed in the January transfer window to consolidate? Josh makes an important point there. I think it's often forgotten about that Sunderland finished 5th in League One. I think it's because of the potential of this squad, and we've seen it in most games this season, haven't we, Danny? Probably apart from today, where Sunderland looked like they could have beaten everyone who's in front of them, really, haven't they? And, you know, Sunderland fans will be frustrated, but it's probably a survival season. You know, it's a year from consolidation, as Josh said, and you build upon that. Perhaps it's frustrating that we have been so well in, you know, competing so well in games that, you know, without a striker for such a long time as well, that Sunderland have got into a good position and the league is so tight. So, with all that in mind, you can understand why fans could want to kick on and bring some players in. I think Tony Mowbray's even suggested about it during the week as well in his press conferences. But to pull on Josh's points there, where do you think we need strength? If, you know, you're holding the purse strings. Where would you strengthen?
Well, go back to his first point in terms of consolidation, and it's a difficult one because you've mentioned it there. You sort of contradict it where you say, coming back up, listen, where would you start the season? Where would you take? Would you take, some will say survival. You know, some would say a mid-table finish, good performances and bad, which is perhaps what we're getting at this moment in time.
I say survival, but you don't feel like this Sunderland team are going to survive by the skin of their teeth because they have so much possession and good players on the ball. You think it's going to be comfortable to a certain extent, you'd hope.
That was the next point I was going to say.
Sorry.
No, you're right. And in terms of, though, we haven't seen anyone who's blew me away. That's the thing. You know, even Burnley, they've been hammered at 5-2 today at Sheffield United. But even they come up here, we were in front. I didn't think they were that great second half. I thought they showed a bit more energy, and we gifted them a few goals. But there's nothing we've seen so far, and that's the frustration. So I can see, and Tony Mowbray's come in with the squad. So, you know, as a manager, naturally you always want to add your own few players, bring a few players in January.
I think you only had one game with 2 strikers.
That's it as well. So he's getting a few back. Obviously, you're looking at Linden, we spoke to, Dan Ballard, Adji coming back. Ross Stewart, so he's almost getting a full deck of cards to pick from.
And height as well.
And a bit of height as well, what we keep mentioning. But he'll still maybe look at it, and I think from Tony and his experience at this level, and he maybe want a little bit more experience to add to the squad as well. Not saying you have to go and get someone who's 30, 35, but, you know, somebody who's played a few games at this level, 100 games or so at championship level under their belt. Is it going to cost a few quid? Maybe, but that's something he's got to sit down with and chat to Christian and the recruitment team and see what they can look to bring in for him as well. But we've got a good core of a good nucleus of a squad at this level, and it's frustrating. And the fans will see it, and they've seen it like we do. We sit up here every week, and we see it, and we see what we've got in this. Look at the goals we've scored. The Reading third goal, the first goal on Wednesday night. So it's in the team, but it's that consistency which isn't quite there at this moment in time. And that's when you look at the table. You know, it's a bit of a cliche. People will say the table doesn't lie. Before today, it was 1-6. We've drawn 6 and we've lost 6, so we're a middle of the table team.
Spot on.
Yeah, and it's trying to get back-to-back wins, and unfortunately, we can't get over the line at this moment in time and produce that. But in terms of, so you've asked me if I've got the purse strings now. Where am I looking?
Go on then.
It's difficult because when you get everyone back,
you would say, well, we don't need anyone.
Well, okay, then people will talk about a striker. So you've got Ross Stewart back, you've got Ellis Sims back. Do you need another striker? You know, it's, in hindsight, them two got injured at the same time. So it's, perhaps you need another one who's going to come in as, you know, your third choice. Who are you going to bring in January who's going to want to come to the club, who's thinking, well, he's going to play now and he's going to play. I'm going to be sat on the bench more often than not unless they pick up an injury.
But so you've seen that's not the case, though,
Danny.
I
know it is, but it's difficult, isn't it? As if I'm a striker now and, you know, Sunderland come knocking, as a player, you're going to say, right, who's in my position? Now, Ross Stewart, when he's fit, he's going to play. If we're going to play a 2 up top, is it going to be Ross Stewart and Ellis Sims, or is he going to bring somebody else in? Maybe, you know, big man, little man type of thing.
Perhaps are you suggesting that's more in the thinking of the player midway through the season?
Yeah, possibly,
rather than in the summer.
But it's who you're getting in January as well. Now, if you're looking at somebody who's not been playing, now you've got to get them up to match speed. Are they going to come in straight away and compete for a place in the starting 11? I just look at it when we've got everybody back. Maybe a bit of physical presence in the middle of the park as well. I know I think Corey's been great as well. But someone, a big unit in there, you know, in tough games like today, you could see it at times in Wednesday as well. Started that 15 minutes after the break where we got overrun a little bit. Maybe somebody in there, experience at this level, few games behind them, you know, 6'3", bit of a powerhouse in there just to take control of games when it gets a little bit frantic at times. But other than that, you look on the wings, you've got Jack and Patrick. There's not too many in this league who wouldn't take either of them two. So it is a difficult one to sit here and say what positions could we bring players in who are going to go straight into the starting 11.
Okay, Danny, thanks for your thoughts this afternoon and for your company around the world as well here on SAFC Live. We will be back on Friday evening for the final game before the World Cup for Sunderland. 8 p.m. kickoff here at the Stadium of Light against Birmingham City, which means we'll be on air from around about 7:30 on Friday evening. We didn't get the fireworks we wanted here on firework night for Sunderland. They've gone down at home by 1-0 against Cardiff City. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you soon.